basically what's going on is D&D is going through this thing where they're upgrading to a new edition. They're updating the game to a new edition. And as part of that update, they're pushing out a new open gaming license. So the current open gaming license. Now let's go back a little bit. You've got Cal. Hello. Thank you so much for the follow. How are you doing today? House on Fire. It's over. No hope. Too much. Maybe. So we're going to go back to third edition, like 3.5. Now, I've been looking a lot into this. I didn't get into D&D until probably 5-6 years ago. So I had to do a lot of research on this. So I have actually some references on here, which we may use, we may not, but we'll get there. Also, why do I have a chat window that has no chat in it on the stream? Like, why does this even exist? We'll fix the screen layout for next stream. The point is, back in like third edition, they had, I know it is on me, right? Like I tried. I put the little actual like YouTube channels and Twitter on there, but they're not even like close to aligned. It just, I did it like 5 minutes before. Actually, that's why I was 5 minutes late, because I was doing that. Okay, so third edition, they have an open gaming license, which is not quite as robust as the one we have now, but it's not bad. And then when fourth edition comes around, they like gutted it, right? They just removed the open gaming license. There's no custom content for the game, whatever. The game is like stagnating. So that when they come out with fifth edition, they bring out the current open gaming license, which is called Open Gaming License 1.0A. Good at my first Pathfinder session today. It was good. Oh, nice. Are you switching from D&D as well? We may or may not be doing that. I'm going to get into that towards the end of the stream, but Pathfinder is definitely one that I was looking at. I know a lot of people like Pathfinder, so it seemed like the obvious step. Anyway, so D&D has this new open gaming license with 5th edition, which is the current edition of D&D, is 5th edition, right? So the open gaming license basically gives everyone a right to use and abuse the SRD, which is like the standard rules, right? So it's basically all of the core rules that you need to play the game, including spells, monsters, character, classes, races, all that kind of stuff. Anything that you would find in like the standard D&D is in the SRD. I think it's like 150 pages or something like that. It's massive. Might be more than that, might be less, I don't remember. But the important thing is anyone can use this. It's licensed to you. You can use it to create anything that you want, basically, with the SRD. Now, the issue comes as of last week. They've put out a notice that their new version of D&D, Open D&D, or 1D&D, I'm sorry. 1D&D is going to make the old open gaming license null and void, which on one hand it might not even be possible for them to do that, but we'll see. So it's going to make that null and void, supposedly. And furthermore, it has a lot of bad things, including like anyone that publishes for the new open gaming license, which is called Open Gaming License OGL 1.1, right? So anyone who publishes for OGL 1.1, you have to basically license your stuff, whatever you make with it, to Wizards of the Coast in perpetuity, forever, for free. So they're like completely open and available to use your product without your consent or knowledge for their own monetary gain. Now, this was previously available for them as a thing. They could do this with OGL 1.0A, which is the current. Thank you, Spidey. You've got Cal. I'll read that in 1 second. I just want to finish my thought or it's gone. So they could technically do that, but only if you were not selling it. So if you made a D&D adventure module or a character class, a source book or something like that, and you weren't selling it, then technically D&D, like Wizards of the Coast, could lift that wholesale and put it in a book if they wanted to. Or I could do that. Like, if Spidey went out and he made a source book and I liked it, I could just grab it. As long as he's not selling it, I could grab it, I could put it in my own book, and I could sell it. Totally legal. Anyway, so there's a lot of stuff like that. Basically, it has destroyed trust in the D&D community now. And a lot of people are leaving, and a lot of people are gone no matter what. And that's kind of the problem, because D&D 5th edition, as of when it came out, was a very small game. Wizards of the Coast supposedly had a team of about 12 people working on 5th edition when it came out. No, Spuddy, you can't have your source book back. Also, Annabella, thank you for the corn. And because of things like, you know, source books, Stranger Things, Critical Role, the community just pumping out content for the game. And this was their intent, was that, you know, they can produce the core rules and let the community produce their own stuff, which will then make the game wildly popular, because there is so much stuff for it that it will draw in everyone. And it worked. Pretty much it worked, because it gained so much popularity because of things like Stranger Things, Critical Role, and the massive catalog of like stuff that you can find on DM's Guild, Drive-Thru RPG, Kobold Press, like all that kind of stuff. Brought in, myself included, millions of people that they have now betrayed the trust of by putting out this new thing that's basically restricting people's ability to write material for it. So that's where we're at right now. That's kind of the watered down version of bringing you up to the current timeline. Now let me read. You've got Cal. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's fun. I did my first ever kerfuffle with a GM though. Wanted to throw a ball of light I had conjured at a group of enemies to try to blind them, and my DM straight up said no rules don't allow for that. I hate that. I hate that. I was a little stunned. Usually with DMs I played with before, it just allowed me to do stuff like that, and they just skirt around the rules a bit, because more. Yeah, exactly. That's my thing. I will be perfectly honest with you. I've never actually read the player's handbook or the DM's guide or the monster manual. I've never read any of the source books. I've paged through them and looked for specific things and rules, but personally I've never actually read them. One, I have ADHD and it kind of prevents me from being able to read anything long. I could read like a page and then my brain just out the window. So I've never actually read them, and I don't really care, because once you get the core concepts of D&D down, it's very simple. Roll dice, set a difficulty modifier based on how difficult you think it's going to be. There's rules for monsters. You find the monster you want. Like, you know, it just kind of, for me, it just kind of works. But anyway, yeah, I think that's a little ridiculous. I would have let you do that if that makes you feel any better, Cal. But yeah, no, Spidey, I'm keeping that. Anyway, so that gets you up to the current timeline. All right. So now there is a unified effort by, let me see if I can bring this up here. So we've got Open D&D, and I'm going to go to my live screen so you can actually see what I'm talking about. So Open D&D is an effort by the community to basically tell Wizards to F off. And let's see here. So we've got Open Gaming License legal framework that allows creators to use the rules and ideas of role-playing games in their own works. Initially released in 2000 by Wizards of the Coast, it's become a pillar of the tabletop gaming industry, fueling the popularity and accessibility of games such as Pathfinder, 13th Age, and Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition. The OGL has done more to foster creativity and innovation in the tabletop gaming ecosystem than any other element, by allowing creators to use and collaboratively build upon core mechanics and concepts of existing games. The OGL has created a wide variety of new games and game products, ranging from minor independent releases to large commercially successful titles. Let's storm gates and burn the sucker to the ground. So, okay. Let me just read this, and then we'll move on. I feel like this is just kind of a good thing to read. It'll get everyone It explains it better than I can. However, Wizards of the Coast has announced an open updated OGL version 1.1 in an attempt to dismantle the entire RPG industry. The new license intends to completely revoke the old OGL, a perpetual license designed by Wizards of the Coast themselves to be irrevocable. Nothing about this new license is open. It chokes the vibrant community that has flourished under the original license. No matter the creator, it locks everyone into a new contract that restricts their work. Thank you, Annabelle.
It's called Big Lump. It has the juice. I love code. Because code is awesome.
Anyway, it makes it mandatory to report their projects and revenues to Wizards of the Coast and gives Wizards of the Coast the legal right to reproduce and resell creators' content without permission or compensation. The new license can also be modified with worse terms or terminated at any time without any recompense by the creators. That was delayed. Was it? That's weird. Okay. For the largest creators in the industry, Wizards of the Coast is imposing an impossible tax, 25%, based on their total sales above 750K profit, 750K, sorry, not profit, which is important because that means that if you sell $1 million worth of stuff, like if you make a source book and it sells 1 million copies, right? Normally, you would be taxed on the profit, right? Or you would pay your royalties to Wizards of the Coast based on your profit, I think. But not in this case. This is the sales. So you pay 25% of your total sales of $1 million. That's insanity. They're going to are they even going to make any profit at that point? I don't know. Probably not a lot. Anyway, this is anti-competitive, monopolistic behavior designed to crush small businesses that collectively employ hundreds of designers, writers, and artists. Under this tax, it becomes impossible for creators to put books on game store shelves or run Kickstarters for large audiences. Even though this is only affecting some companies in the space, those targeted are still tiny compared to Wizards of the Coast, which made $1.3 billion in 2021. Now, here's the point, though. That is an interesting point because a lot of people are upset about this. That does not affect a lot of companies. There aren't a lot of independent designers for D&D products that are making over $750,000. If Wizards of the Coast is to be believed on that, I think it affects 11 people. So take that with a grain of salt because that is a scary sounding statistic that really does not affect a lot of people. But still, F that. It is crazy, right? I guess some GMs prefer to stick to the rules as written, just like some people prefer homebrewing rules. It's not something I'll make a huge deal about. Plus, he was running the beginner's box, so he might not have known to become. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to be fair, it does say the rule of cool precedes all rules, essentially, in the DM's guide, which I did admit to not reading, but I did read that part. I did read that. So I don't know. I guess it's not a problem. I don't like people. Let me rephrase. I don't like it when people are like rules lawyering D&D, a game that exists entirely in the imagination of the players. It does not seem like a fair thing to me because you obviously, if you are making a video game, you are building a box and you are building the things that go in the box and you can control everything that can happen inside of that box. If you are playing D&D, there's no box. You can't control everything that happens in the outside when there's no box. So obviously the people that write the books for D&D can't control or even fathom like a percent of everything that could happen in D&D campaigns. So, you have to take all the rules with a grain of salt. I think that is my opinion. But I think you really need to, put the rule of cool first. Like if it's a cool thing, then figure out how to let it happen. If it's all strict rules, there's no room for fun. Exactly. Yeah. Granted, Cal, like you were saying, if it's a new GM, I guess GM is the term now. If it's a new GM, then there's some leeway there because Obviously, if you're still trying to learn the rules, then, you know, it makes more sense to be a little bit more of a rules lawyer, because then how else are you going to learn? Anyway, okay. So, on top of that, games such as Pathfinder 1E and First Edition and Second Edition, 13th Age, Fudge, and Traveler, which use the OGL 1.0 as the backbone of their existence, will need to cease sales of upcoming production or give Wizards of the Coast 25% of their revenue to stay in compliance with the new license. That is not technically true, I think. As far as I'm aware, Pathfinder 2nd Edition does not use the OGL, but I could be wrong. Anyway, that is a big thing, though. And I think I heard they were going to give them 8 days to do this, to basically cease their sales, rewrite all of their stuff so it doesn't include the SRD to be compliant with the OGL. And that is insane. There's no way. There's no way that could have happened. Furthermore, under the new license, virtual tabletops cannot operate. They can no longer support OGL systems, and creators can no longer release modules and adventures on popular digital platforms such as Foundry, which is what I use, Alchemy, or Shard. I don't know what Alchemy and Shard are, but I kind of want to look them up. But I use Foundry. That is very upsetting for me. I know Foundry is one of the ones that would be negatively affected by this, because you can import the entire SRD into Foundry and use it to automate certain parts of your game, which I really like. That's one of the reasons I bought it. And that makes me very upset. Now, what's not clear is if that affects D&D 5th edition. I believe it does not, in which case it should not affect the VTTs. So I think you have to take this entire website with a grain of salt, because a lot of it, to me, reads as rage bait, but some of it is because like I said, there's a few things here that I'm not even sure on. Like, it doesn't mention that there are so few people that actually make over $750,000 that this tax thing would be bad for them. Now, granted, it would, if there were more, it would be bad, but also I don't think second edition of Pathfinder uses the 1.0 OGL. I don't think it uses the SRD, so that wouldn't affect them like it says it does. And if VTTs don't move on to open D&D, I don't think that they will be affected by this at all. But I don't know. So if this new license gains wide adaptation, the tabletop landscape will fracture and lose its biggest onboarding mechanisms, shuttering the small business that can populate the local cons and putting a stop to their creations. Innovation in the gaming industry will evaporate. Your favorite games will be trapped in the past instead of being allowed to migrate to your phone, virtual reality, and beyond. Diversity in the industry will shrink away as projects from marginalized creators are effectively written out of the future. We expect Wizards of the Coast to attempt expensive and illegal lawsuits to enforce compliance with their new agreement. Even if they aren't successful in court, they will irrevocably damage the tabletop industry. So, the point there is basically saying that if Wizards of the Coast is allowed to do this, and I mean, they really can, there's nothing we can really do about it, right? But what they will likely try to do is just throw their weight around and be like, look, it doesn't matter if we can or cannot do this because you can't fight us in court. And it's not like, you know, some guy working out of his basement writing a new monster compendium for D&D 5th edition is going to be able to go up and say, I'm going to sue you, Wizards of the Coast. Like, they're a multi-billion-dollar company. Guy in his basement, aka me, I can barely afford to pay for D&D Beyond. You know, it's just, it's not going to happen. So you either comply with it or you get sued to oblivion, and you don't have the money to fight them back, so you're going to lose. That's all it is. So it sucks. Regardless of whether or not any of the information on the site is actually accurate, it sucks. The official response from Wizards of the Coast, they say that VTTs are no longer affected by the new OGL. Perfect. Okay, I did not see that, so that's good. That is perfect. Still not good, right? They did come out with, and according to a video I was watching on this, actually just before stream, They came out with something, and I forget exactly what it was. It was from, I will tell you, the video, it was actually a really good video on the subject by Legal Eagle, which was a collaboration with Matt Colville, like a giant in the tabletop RPG community, which, if you are interested in this at all, you should go watch. It came out about an hour before I started streaming. Good video. So it explains it better than I can. That being said, he does make some good points that I cannot debate because I'm not a lawyer, and he is. But basically what he was saying, actually, let me fix it real quick. There we go. Now I'm actually like looking. Am I? Is this better? Yeah, it is. There are full responses on the D&D Beyond website if anyone hasn't read it yet. Perfect. I'm going to go read that right now. Let's go take a look at this. Thank you, Cal. I'm going to assume that's under media. Oh, this was the 2 days ago one. Okay, so I thought I read this, but maybe I hadn't. When we initially... Oh, this was the really bad one. Okay, so I did read this, but I got stuck on this part. Let me just read the whole thing. When we initially conceived the revising of the OGL, it was with three major goals in mind. First, we wanted to prevent the use of D&D content from being included in hateful and discriminatory products. Second, we wanted to address those attempting to use D&D in Web3, blockchain games, and NFTs by making clear that the OGL content is limited to tabletop role-playing content like campaigns, modules, and supplements. BS. It is not. Because I actually found this here, which is the FAQ for the original OGL. I think it was this one. What is open game content? Open game content is material that is distributed using the open game license clearly identified by the publisher. Open game content. That kind of, there was a better answer for that. Coast change license. Oh, this one will come back to. Maybe it was this one. Is open game content limited to just the game mechanic? No, the definition of open game content also provides for any additional content clearly defined as open game content. You can use the open game license for any kind of material you wish to distribute using the terms of the license, including fiction, artwork, maps, computer software, etc. There you go. So Wizards, however, rarely releases open game content, or open content is not just mechanics. So I guess that's kind of a gray area. Third, we wanted to ensure the OGL is for the content creator, homebrewer, aspiring designer, our players, and the community, not major corporations to use for their own commercial and promotional purposes. That I get. I can understand that, because part of the reason why I think they made this the way that they did is because of the fact that you have things like Critical Role, Stranger Things, the Critical Role show on Amazon Prime. You know, like, as far as I know, they could theoretically make something like that and not pay anything back to Wizards. I don't know if if that is the case with Critical Role, because I know they have deals with Wizards of the Coast, but like, I could probably go make a D&D show right now under the OGL 1.0A, and I wouldn't have to pay them anything. All right, driving the goals were two simple principles. One, our job is to be good stewards of the game, and two, the OGL exists for the benefit of the fans. Nothing about these principles has wavered for a second. I don't believe that, but we'll move on. That was why our early drafts of the new OGL included provisions that they did. The draft language was provided to content creators and publishers so their feedback could be considered before anything was finalized. In addition to the language allowing us to address discriminatory and hateful conduct and clarifying what types of project the OGL covers, our drafts included royalty language designed to apply to large corporations attempting to use OGL content. It was never our intent to impact the vast majority of the community. Unfortunately, Lady Takeout Prism, how are you? Thank you for the Prime sub. How have you been? We are doing very well. We're talking about D&D today.
Lady
So,
Takeout Prism just subscribed.
I remember when D&D was TSR.
Hope you are well.
Yes, and TSR is actually still around in a very different company, I think, than they were way back when. They seem like they've lost a little bit. Okay, so basically what I was getting at here is if they're going to produce this kind of language and this verbiage and expect it to say, hey, look, you know, it was never our intent to take that and use it against like content creators and small designers and whatever. The problem is they can, and there's no reason to trust that they won't, you know, especially after, I mean, granted it was a leak. So they probably didn't intend for it to get out and cause the damage that it did, but the damage is done. And the problem is that the trust is broken. And knowing that they were even going to attempt to nullify the old one that is unnullifiable even says that right here. Nope, just kidding. It says that right here. Can't Wizard of the Coast change the license in a way I wouldn't like? Yes, it could. However, the license already defines what can happen to the content that has been previously distributed using an earlier version in Section 9. As a result, even if Wizards made a change you disagreed with, you could continue to use an earlier acceptable version at your option. In other words, there's no reason for Wizards to ever make a change to the community of people using the open gaming license would object to, because the community would just ignore it anyway. Boom. So it says right here, they designed it to not be changeable. Anyway, not too bad. About to do some homework. I know this. What are you doing for homework, Lady Takeout Prism? It's the little guy who always gets caught in the middle. Exactly, Spidey, right? And the fact that you have to give a license, one, you have to report everything that you do. And granted, they're probably going to change it. So take all of this that I'm going to say with a grain of salt. But the original leak was you would have to report everything you make to Wizards of the Coast. They get an irrevocable license to your content and can use it for whatever they want, including canceling your right to use your own content and then stealing it from you and putting it in their own source book. So if I made a monster compendium, right, and I worked for a while on this book, I sell it. Wizards can then come to me and say, we're canceling your right to use this. You can't use your own content anymore. It's ours now. We take it. That's legal for them to do in this new open gaming license. Thing is, yeah, the current TSR is wild. It's run by Ernie Gygax, who is a literal Nazi. He creates really racist TTRPGs. That I'm not surprised of. I was gonna say that, but I wasn't sure. But that's what it seems like from what I've heard about TSR these days. It's really sad. Thing is, the leak was after it was being sent to the legal people moving forward with it, supposedly, but they've now claimed it was just a draft. I love D&D, but I would likely not be giving them any more money using copies that may be sus. To answer your question, I'm accepting I'm an accounting major, so I'm in tax accounting class. So much fun. Oh, nice. I mean, sounds like you're not too jazzed about it, but well, that's cool though. Yeah, so that's kind of the thing. Like I was just saying too, Lady Takeout Prism, right before you joined in here, that in planning to start doing purely tabletop gaming content on Sundays, I resubscribed to D&D Beyond, and then all this stuff broke, and I was like, God damn it! I subscribed for a year, so I sent them a message like, can I just cancel that because you guys suck? I don't know if they're going to appreciate it, but I don't really care as long as I get a refund. Anyway, I could not be an accountant. I wish I could. But that is a special kind of brain power that I don't have. May have to introduce you to Earth Dawn. So we'll get to that in a minute, Spidey, because, well, we'll get to that in a minute. So this is the part that slayed me. A couple of last thoughts. First, we won't be able to release the new OGL today. This was the day that they were supposed to release the new OGL to the public. First, we won't be able to release the new OGL today because we need to make sure we get it right, but it is coming. Second, you're going to hear people say that they won and we lost because making your voices heard forced us to change our plans. Those people will be only half right. They won and so did we. Fuck you. What? What is that? Why would you put that in there? Like, okay, so you're trying to rebuild some goodwill with the rest. Like, all of this is trying to rebuild some goodwill, and then you're like, yeah, by the way, fuck you, we won. No, that was really stupid. and I mean, the funny part of that was like, nobody. I mean, I hang out on Twitter a little more than I should. And just the funniest part of this was like, that was the only bit that anyone actually read very clearly. Like, if you're looking on Twitter, like, that is the only bit of it that anyone was talking about. I don't even know what the rest of this fucking says. I read it to you just now and I still don't remember because I'm so mad about that part. Many people need to keep in mind that this is only for content that D&D actually owns. This is specific to named NPCs, words that they made, etc. They cannot deny the use of D20s or similar dice using the races or monsters. Well, technically, yeah. So they can't get as much money. Yeah. So that was actually, thank you, Lady Takeout Prism. That was the part I was going to talk about from the Legal Eagle video. So thank you for reminding me because I totally forgot what I wanted to talk about there. So that is kind of the silver lining, interesting piece of this is that you can't actually. Apparently, they can't actually even copyright this stuff because you can't copyright a game. You can only copyright the exact. Oh, and Annabella, thank you for the 25 bits, by the way. I didn't realize that was the Korn song was 25 bits. You literally, you can't copyright a game. So like in the video that Legal Eagle put out, he used an example of Monopoly, right? I could theoretically rewrite the Monopoly rulebook and publish it. What happened? Ash? Happy to help. I'm still pissed they did this, but silver lining. Plus, if they want to copyright, you hit a button. Okay. Were you supposed to hit the button? Okay. I just wanted to make sure nothing like crazy happened here. Happy to help. I'm still pissed that they did this, but silver lining. Plus, if they want to call copyright, they might have issues with Tolkien. That's a fair point. Yeah. I did a Twitch stream covering their financials for Hasbro. Their stocks dropped by half, and they had a 60% loss in the third quarter. From what I understand, D&D makes up 70% of their income. I have a feeling they were writing on Critical Role's popularity to get them through the third quarter, but due to the financial state across the planet, people don't have their spending power for the holiday season. Also, Mad Merc of the North, hello, how are you? I would be interested to see that. This is kind of all like something that's, I've been out of D&D for a while, right? No problem, Ash. Yeah, there was a shield mode. But anyway, so welcome to the chat. First off, thank you for that. It's nice. We have actually a bunch of new people popping into the chat now that we've switched over to TTRPG stuff. So that's really exciting. So I have been out of D&D for a couple years, and for anyone who hasn't been here for a little bit, we've been talking for a while about getting into D&D and streaming it with other content creators. Oh, thanks for the shout out for Ash. And like this happened 2 days after I renewed all of my subscriptions. So I figured, we should talk about it. In the limited capacity that I am knowledgeable on this, which is very limited. Anyway. Thanks for the shout out, Spidey. Okay, so that is actually news to me too, though, by the way. So stocks dropped. Now, was the stock dropping by half? They had a 60% loss in the third quarter, from what I understand. D&D makes up 70. So I'm assuming that a lot of that drop, well, all of that drop had to not be related to this. The stream was on Mind of Monroe. I did it yesterday. It's a half hour long and attempted to contain my rage. So the only reason I've been able to contain any rage on this, I'm containing it well, a little bit slipping out, but I've had a lot of time to process it at this point, because I was even going to talk about it on our stream last Sunday that I couldn't do because my computer died. But yeah, it's just like Lady Takeout Prison was saying, there's a kind of a silver lining in that you can't copyright the game. So even if this comes out, you could still write stuff for D&D and just not use the OGL. Because they, like, as long as you're not using stuff that can be copyrighted, like owl bears, mind flayers, that kind of stuff. Like, you can't copyright the D20s. You can't copyright the rules. You could literally, like, go through. My understanding of this, you could take the core rulebook of D&D and rewrite it in your own verbiage with your own terms, and publish it legally. If you go to Hasbro's site, they release proxy reports for the end of the year fiscal reports. You can pull up right now and take a look. It's in the investor section. If you look at the proxy, you'll see the salaries that people make in the increases. It's a long document, but then you can just Google their stock prices and it speaks. Fair enough. I'll just do that. They've gone up. I'm not happy about that. What? How are they only going up? They have been going way down there. So this is September. Now let's go to a year. Okay, so this is January 2022. So we are at $100, and as of December 20th, they had gone down by half. So that's pretty bad. I did hear that D&D, and look at this, CNBC, Hasbro just tanked one of its biggest revenue drivers. Oof. Oof. Way to go, Hasbro. Hasbro named one of America's most just companies. Wait, what? Hasbro named one of America's most just companies at the most awkward time imaginable. That's pretty funny. Why is there a WoW video on here? Hasbro defends Magic the Gathering strategy, says there's no evidence. Cards are overprinted. Interesting. I don't know. There is a lot of controversy with Magic the Gathering as well right now, right? To me, I mean, I don't know a lot about Magic the Gathering, but a lot of people are complaining because there's too much cards. There's too many cards, which I don't understand. I feel like I feel like that's a good problem. Like, you have more options of card packs to buy. Why is that bad? But maybe if you feel like you have to own them all, I don't know. Maybe some are competitive, or to be competitive, you need more of them. That would suck. Anyway, that is telling though, right? Like, if we're looking at, I mean, even 5 years, let's look at 5 years. So this is $121 at their peak in 2019. And then we're wow, what was that? March 2020. Now, that's interesting because you'd feel like, or at least I would think, a lot more people would be inside using VTTs. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Critical Role started in 2015. Also around the same time, they lose rarity. Okay. That makes sense. Joe the Frogman. How are you? Welcome into the channel. So, yeah, so this is kind of unexpected. I thought that would go up because people are inside more and playing more. I mean, we certainly played more D&D around that time. Every time Stranger Things come up, they go, oh, this was okay. I got you. That makes sense. Okay, yeah, that was Stranger Things. Yep. Maybe this is hype for Stranger Things. I don't know. That's funny though. That Stranger Things is that big on their revenue. I mean, they mentioned D&D in Stranger Things. It's not like a central point of the thing. Like the first season, it was a big thing, but after that, it wasn't. Mama Luigi. Hey, Patter, how was your stream today? But yeah, so like, I mean, the first season, maybe a little bit of the second season. I don't remember the second season. It drives their growth via average. Oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. People buy books and play like 1 to 2 times. Okay. Thanks for that, Cal. All right, so the point here is OGL 1.1 bad. I think we can all agree there. Although they are taking it back to the drawing board, supposedly, and altering some of it. And maybe it'll get a little better. Probably helps that they have Stranger Things D&D module books. That probably increases the sales. They do. I have it. I think I own it. I've never actually read it. So I don't know much about it. I forget what it was called. Can I like look at this? Yeah, oh yeah, I can because I'm not logged in. Where was it? There it is. Hunt for the Thistle Hydra. The Thal Hydra. I don't know what that is. Oh, what's this Vecna thing about? News sites have been reported. Google search spikes for Vecna, etc. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I actually, so that is kind of funny. Lady, take out Prism. Thank you. I'm gonna drink my last little drop of water. I had a lot of my family come up to me and be like, "Hey, you play D&D? What's a Vecna?" And I was like, "Oh, he's like a lich god. Why?" They're like, "What's a lich?" I hadn't watched Stranger Things yet at that point, so it was kind of funny. And then I was like, oh, so the bad guy in Stranger Things, the new season, is named Vecna, I suppose. And they're like, no. I was like, oh, so it's an ultra powerful sorcery type guy, right? And they're like, no. And of course it was not. Just kidding. A lich sounds like the thing they would whip you with. Well, he whipped them a few times, I'll tell you that. Tell them if Vecna is dish soap. I've only seen the first 2 seasons of Stranger Things. Oh. Ignore that, Dire Witch. No, nothing with Vecna. Vecna is this guy, for the record. So, here you go. Anyway, I know who's on the cover, but I never actually read it. Hot take: D&D should shift focus to get DMs and players to purchase books. There's literally hundreds of books for DMs. Meanwhile, for players, there's Player's Handbook, and that's it. I agree with you, Cal, to an extent. I mean, so for me, I DM mostly, right? And I don't like it that I have to pay for everything. I feel like it should be kind of like a courtesy thing when you're a DM and players are playing in your game. Like, I feel like it should be just like a common courtesy thing in the D&D community to be like, hey, DM, what books do you want? Let's just put a fund together to get the DM like all the books, you know, and like pay for the VTT subscription if you need that or whatever else. Like it, I mean, as a group, that should be a group effort, because the DM does 99% of the work, has to prep. If you're running a module, the DM has to read the whole module, has to prep all the stuff, has to deal with your bullshit. And what do we get for it? A bill. That was strat during 4E, but since Wizards of the Coast sucked and did the GSL, that cost them third parties too. OGL equals next GSL. Yes. Joe the Frogman. Thank you. I forgot the name of it when I was talking about that before, but it was GSL. Thank you. But yeah, so that was the bad thing with 4th edition. And 4th edition, I watch a lot of people like, you know, Matt Colville, who is a huge fan of 4th edition. I didn't play 4th edition, but I do like tactical games like Warhammer and stuff. So I feel like there's something there that I might have liked. I mean, I love 4th edition. There were some amazing GM tools for player things. So that's cool. Okay. Wasn't 4th edition when they were going to come out with, there was an online resource I think that they were going to come out with for 4th edition, right? And then they never did. I played, so a little background on myself. I got into D&D when I was young, and I think 3.5 had just come out when I got into D&D. And I played a little bit of that, but I never had a lot of friends to play D&D with. Like, most of my friends were like, I'm not playing D&D. I had one friend that would play it. And we played a little bit, and then we found a couple other people that played. We had like one-offs every once in a while. But then we put it away for a millennia and came back to it in like 2017. 35 years. Wow. Joe, that's awesome. I wish I had that level of experience in D&D. I really do. As well, since they literally targeted players for magic items, the books of magic items are also targeted at players to buy as well. That's awesome. It should be that way now. Take the money burden off of me. Put it on the players. Mostly I invent my own anyway. Like, I'm a big home brewer. I still buy all the books just because I like to have them. It's nice to have them as a reference. And then if you're creating a character, we mostly use D&D Beyond because the people that I play with are like, one of them was in Colorado, one of them was in, or a couple of them were in Texas. I am in neither of those places. So we use D&D Beyond for like character creation and stuff. And then we used Roll20. We moved on to Foundry VTT. But it's all online. We've never not played online. So I like having D&D Beyond, and I like having all the books in there because it allows you to use any official modules for it. But that being said, the push to get away from D&D Beyond is awesome because I think it's going to give us a huge, if we do continue to play D&D, that is, it's going to give us a huge amount of content that we can use that we would have to manually use and we haven't used before. Oh, hey, it's a book on Vex now. Also, solo playbooks. I think some players would love solo sessions and adventures because you don't have to call a whole group to synchronize schedules. A guarantee if there were D&D solo books, more players might get. Yes, I agree with you, Cal. I think that would be really great. You know, it exists and you can homebrew it that way. But nothing is designed to do it that way. You have to really put a lot of work into it as a DM to figure out how to make a solo thing work. I mean, granted, it's not I guess a ton of work, but you have to figure it out. It takes a lot more than your standard session setup where, you know, you kind of understand the rhythm of the party and you can be like, okay, if I throw this monster at them, they'll kill it in like 2 turns probably, right? I was already disillusioned with D&D before and was looking at Pathfinder 2, 2nd edition before all this came along. So I heard Pathfinder also has a thing like D&D Beyond as well. Does anyone have experience with that? When Spidey was a DMGM, the players themselves brought all his materials. See, that's what I think should happen. Dire Witch. I like that. I think, like I said, I think every D&D group, what would benefit, I mean, any tabletop role-playing, not even D&D, if you had the group collectively just set aside like a small fund for the DM and be like, hey, DM, we are going to, you know, give you some money for running the campaign that you can use to buy books for the campaign. You're doing all this work for us, so here's some money that you can use to buy the stuff that you use to make the stuff for us. It's kind of like playing an MMO, you know? Your subscription fee goes to keeping the servers active and the continued development of content and patches for the MMO and to line Bobby Kodak's pockets. Anyway, we tried Savage Worlds. I loved how easy it was, but my brother hated it. Other players were fine with it. So that's what got me to jump from 5e to 4e. Oh, really? Okay. I write and create tabletop RPGs. I'm a published author on Drive-Thru RPG. Oh! In my experience, some of the DMs in this world create some of the best content I've ever seen or heard, and there are some of the best artists in the world, which are D&D fans. Hasbro really missed an opportunity to sit down with their attorneys and figure out a deal that everyone could profit from in this situation. They didn't need to rewrite the OGL. I agree. Also, Mad Merc, I can't, so you can't post links in the chat.
Stay a while and listen.
Powder, thank you for the raid. How was your stream? How was, The Nest is here to give backup to the Boo Crew. Welcome in here. Hey, Tirith, how are you? Powder Hero, thank you for the raid. Potato King, welcome back. Hope your stream was good. Hope Minecraft was nice. I've been having a real desire to play some Minecraft lately. Maybe we'll co-stream that sometime. All right. So as I was saying, Merc, 14. If you could deal with you in a second. All right. 14 months. Thank you, Powder Hero. So as I was saying, Merc, if you could DM me on Twitter, or we also have the Discord link in here as well. My social thing will pop up at some point in the chat. If you could just DM me somewhere with your Drive-Thru RPG page, I would love to check that out. Because I totally agree with you. The best stuff for D&D and any tabletop RPGs is not written by the company. It's written by the players. They are the ones that understand it the best, I think. Anyway, Powder Hero, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome on in. How is everybody doing tonight? 14 months, my friend. That is insane. I have a realm set up. Send me the link. We're talking OGL. We're talking OGL. We're talking D&D. We're talking any RPG, really. Okay, Potato King, thank you. Enjoy your lurk. Thank you for lurking. Thank you so much. We are going to have a great rest of the stream. I think we got past the angry. Okay. They could have created a financial giant, but instead they did what they did to try to regain profit from their share loss and went the total wrong direction. I totally agree with you. I started playing D&D in 4E, but I hated 4E. And when 5E came out and I could play it, I liked the incorporation of more simplified combat and adding more skill relevance in RP. Absolutely, Lady Take Out Prism. I totally agree with that. So the reason that I'm so upset about all of this with D&D is because for me, I just kind of get it. Like, there's a lot of tabletop RPGs. I have probably 5 or 6 other ones here that I have tried that I don't mesh with it. Like, you know, it doesn't work as well for me. I like them, but I have to do a lot more work to kind of figure out how to play it, right? With D&D, it just clicks. Like, it just clicked for me. I get it. I never had to read the books because I just get how it works. I love it, and I don't want it to go away. I'm glad that it is. Now, I don't want D&D to be the only TTRPG. I think it has a little too much of the market share, but also the advantage of that is, like, everybody plays D&D. People that play Pathfinder or like Cyberpunk or Call of Cthulhu or whatever, like, they can all play D&D. So if you have a group of people and you're like, hey, I play Pathfinder, I just got hit with a massive gust of cold air and I'm in a basement, so that's really weird. Anyway, that's concerning. There's like cold air blowing on my face and I don't really know why or from where, because there's no vents. Anyway, well, moving on. Like, it's just kind of like, it's almost like a universal language in tabletop RPGs. I've never met anyone who plays like any other tabletop RPG that doesn't know D&D. Okay. I think I'm caught up. Thank you so much for the follow, by the way. Oh, Demiplane created Pathfinder Nexus, and it has other RPGs, 6 or 7 at this point. Currently, Character Builder is an alpha, still rough. Demiplane is the one. I think I signed up for that. You can basically use that to like find tables and other sessions and do like paid DMing. I signed up for that a while back. Are we still playing the right music in here? Okay, we are. Just making sure I'm not playing royalty, or I'm still playing royalty-free music. It's more common. Wait, let me make sure. Patter Hero, you haven't tried Pathfinder 2e. I haven't myself. I have not tried Pathfinder 2nd edition yet. Yeah, sorry, Tirith, you missed the angry, but we can talk angry later if you want. Tirith, do you play D&D at all? It's more common than you think, but since most don't talk about it, many don't think it's okay to ask for and aren't comfortable doing so. Oh, okay. Cal, I missed. Paying GMs should be more normalized. Like whether it's paying to join a group, paying per session, or just donating to a GM to book buying. Yeah, I agree with you. I had actually contemplated doing that myself, just to kind of like make some extra money, you know? Because if I'm gonna have a second job, it might as well be something that I enjoy doing, right?
No, stop! What are you doing?
Novo!
What are you doing?
How are ya?
What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Thank you for the Markiplier. So yeah, I've really considered doing paid DMing just as like a second job on the weekends. Thank you for the USB disconnect. How are you, Novo? I think it should be more common because the DM does a lot of work, right? Like if it's a friend group, then okay, sure. But if it's like a group of people that you're meeting at a store, you know, like obviously you have to agree to it. But if somebody's like, hey, you know, I'm going to run D&D for you, it's going to cost this much. Like it shouldn't be I feel like it shouldn't be unacceptable to do that because you are putting so much time and work into making that a thing that it should just be common sense and like common courtesy to be like, okay, yeah, I will pay you for your time. Patter Hero, I'm not going to do sing mode. You can refund yourself on sing mode, because we're kind of in a chat at the moment, and I don't want to. I don't want to interrupt it. We're kind of on a thing. Completely disagree with skills in 4E and how it affected RP. In my opinion, the right GM worked great. As far as combat, it was super simple, but it just took a while due to lots of conditions. I could see that. I mean, like I said, I've never played it. I can't really comment too much on it, but I don't know. The skills thing, I don't know if I think I would hate that. Because it seems like it was more like, oh, you have this, you don't, rather than like, hey, DM, can I use my insight to like try to do this thing, you know? Where if people are creative enough in my games, I'm like, yeah, sure, you can do that. All right, Lady Take Out Prism, enjoy your homework. It's a weird thing to say. I know, I'm sorry. When we're not doing a serious chat, I'll do sing mode. My channel is Mind of Moreau. Okay, I will I'm gonna write that down. Hang on. Let me get my notepad. The most trusty, I mean, it's literally your name. Or no, it's not your name. You said that before. That's why I was thinking of it. Anyway, trusty notepad never forgets. Never forgives. Oh, wait, Tirith, you play 2nd edition Pathfinder. Oh, that's cool. So we've been... Okay. So let me just make sure I didn't miss anything else. We'll get to that. I've not played D&D. I shall agree. There's a lot of things I say myself. So, Lady Take Out Prism, I know you said you were going to lurk, but I think that's kind of one of the great things about it. Like, you don't have to agree or disagree. You could, well, I guess it's okay to agree or disagree. It's okay to disagree because, you know, you don't have to play 4th edition. There are so many options. As for paid D&D, I think for friends now, but for randos online, sure, because then if they're paying, they're more likely to not like a full... Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. I wish I knew more people that play TTRPGs. So, Tirith, so we've gone through a restructuring here, and as you're seeing tonight, this is the new structure of the channel. We do TTRPGs now. So, You're welcome here. We're going to do TTRPGs all the time. Well, Sundays. We talk about TTRPGs and do TTRPG stuff and hobby stuff. So that's going to be our main bag from now on. We're either going to do TTRPG stuff. It was D&D, but now it's just TTRPG. Maybe some Warhammer stuff. Maybe some board game stuff. Whatever, really. It's just going to be TTRPG and hobby all day. I've been singing if that counts. Thank you, Direwish. You're my singing proxy. I don't like so Powder, you bring up a good point, because I feel like having a friend group pay you to run D&D is not a good idea, because involving money with friends is never a good idea. Mostly because, you know, like, if you don't, I mean, we all know it's the same thing with like money and family and stuff. For me, I've come to the conclusion and live by the philosophy of if I'm giving money or paying anything to a friend or a family member or giving them something in return for money, I'm not expecting that money because I never get it. And if I get upset about it, then I'm not going to have friends or family anymore. So that's kind of my thing. But I think it's a bad idea to involve money when it comes to friends or family. With people, if you are providing a service of DMing to like a group of people that you are not already friends with, I think it should be fine. I think though, you have to figure out how to set it up so that you're not getting screwed over. Like if you're charging for a game and you do all the work and then nobody shows up, that sucks. I read, there was one person that was talking about this that I read about, that the way that they did it was they set up an automatic charge halfway through the game. The people at the game would get charged. And I think that was fair. Because you're still getting paid by the people who showed up, and the people that didn't show up aren't paying, which does kind of suck. But also I get pissed off if my daughter doesn't go to daycare and I still have to pay for it. So I don't know. There's kind of there's like a little bit of a happy medium there, I guess. If required to pay, then the game later, it would mean a heck of a lot. Yeah, it would mean less cancellations, but also it would just kind of suck if like you had to pay and then also you know, like you had a family emergency, you couldn't go to the game. I feel like that's kind of unfair to make you pay, because then you're not only feeling bad that you missed out on it, but you also still have to pay for it. So it does make it easier on the DM too. If you have like say you had a 6-person game, right? And one person doesn't show up, it's going to make it easier for you to run, but also, you know, so I don't know. Like I said, it's a compromise. It's a happy medium. I think it's okay. Anyway, so the other plan for tonight was to rant. We were going to rant about D&D for a bit, which we've done successfully. Screw you, wizards. But now what I would like to do is start exploring some options. So we've talked, and also I'm going to put this out there again for anyone who is interested. On the channel, I was planning on running what's called, actually we should get into this now. So let's talk about this first. So what I was planning on doing on this channel from now on is, like I said, TTRPG stuff, hobby stuff, like Warhammer, board games, maybe, I don't know, whatever. And as part of that, we're going to build, would you prefer more or less crunchy game compared to 5e? I mean, honestly, I prefer about the same. 5e, in my opinion, 5e is the perfect tabletop RPG. In my opinion. Obviously, that's not a lot of people's opinions, and that's fine. For me, it's perfect because it is so modular. Granted, I haven't played a lot of other ones. I have played probably about 5 other tabletop RPGs. The thing about 5e for me is that it's very easy to, yeah, I mean, so let me explain. It's very homebrewable. because the rules click so well for me, I can very easily just throw homebrew stuff into it and it works. It doesn't do a lot of things well. Like, I think combat could definitely be improved. There's a lot of things like you can't do horror very well in D&D. I try it a lot because I like it. That's kind of my main thing that I try to do in D&D. And I always tell people, like, I grew up on playing games like Diablo. So that's where my D&D campaigns always gravitate to, is stuff like that. Not necessarily dungeon crawlers, but just like that aesthetic. So I have a lot of like very horror elements in my D&D games. And it doesn't work well for that because you are, by and large, a heroic character that's mostly stronger than whatever you're opposing. And that makes it not scary. So add fog and stuff crawling across the ceiling. But yeah, but like when you know that the party's just gonna blow up whatever is crawling across the ceiling, it's less scary. You could try it. Like when we played Curse of Strahd, nobody was scared of it. The horror elements just missed. And I think a lot of that was because that was my second campaign ever, and I didn't DM it as well as I could have. But also I think it's just because they just blew up everything. And then when they didn't blow up everything, they just got pissed off at it. They didn't, like the horror house at the beginning. I won't spoil anything because it's amazing, in my opinion. If you haven't played it, I don't want to spoil it. And don't spoil it in chat either. But there are certain fights in there where they were just like, and like blew it up. And then like there were other ones where they just got blown up. And they just, all they did was get mad. They weren't like, oh my God, that's horrifying. It was just, why are you killing us? Anyway. Okay. So my point is I think D&D is a very good jack of all trades game. Like everything D&D does is between a 6 and an 8. It has no 10s. Like it does nothing great, but it does nothing terrible. So it's like, it's a very jack of all trades game. It does, you know, master of none kind of thing. That's what I like. That's why I like it, because it's very easy for me to run. Anyway, let me go back. There's a few messages here I didn't get to read because I was on a little tirade there. Would you prefer more or less? And they just don't support their DMs with shit. I kind of agree with that. I think D&D Beyond does a good job, in my personal opinion. It's been getting better. Don't get me started. If you want to play something not fantasy, D&D is not the right game system. You need generic game system. I like fantasy. I mostly just stick with fantasy. Outside of D&D, if I'm going to play a specific thing, I look for the game that fits that niche, right? So like, if I want to play like early 1900s style game, I go to Call of Cthulhu. That kind of thing. I think horror D&D is all about how you write it and tell it. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it needs to be like horror in D&D is not as good as horror in Call of Cthulhu, using two game systems that I know decently well. Because Call of Cthulhu, if you get into a fight with something, you're dead. And it's terror. Because you need to get out of there. Like you cannot fight it. You're not gonna win, most likely. You got to get away from there. In D&D, you're like, all right, friends, how do we rally to defeat this monster? And then you probably win. It takes a lot of the horror out of it. You could narratively tell it in a horror. Hey, Toasty. You could narratively make it horror, but once you get into a fight, it kind of falls apart. In my opinion, that's how it goes. Okay. Then what do you think? Then what you do is make a dream within a dream and just keep them guessing. I have done that. Oh, speaking of solo playbooks, I highly recommend Lone Wolf by Joe Dever. They're in a genre of books called game books. It's a mix of solo TTRPGs, choose your own adventure books. That's kind of cool. I'm gonna look that up. Thank you, Cal. I'll put that in my handy dandy notebook. Let's see. Lone Wolf Joe Dipper. Okay, perfect. It's in the handy dandy notebook. Yeah, Joe, I mean, I have never, this is an entirely subjective opinion with how well DMs are supported. I feel like I am well supported in terms of like how I want to do my game and stuff. But then again, I mean, that's, like I said, it's entirely subjective. I'm not going to say that anyone else's opinion that they're not well supported is invalid, because I feel well supported doesn't mean that anyone else does. So yeah, so that's my entirely subjective opinions, that I don't feel unsupported as a DM. You can find older copies from the 80s and 90s, but they're currently being reprinted or published by Home Guard Press. Okay, thanks, Cal. I'm definitely gonna look that up. I want to run solo adventures for players in a campaign, like as kind of like a side mission to give them little extra bonuses and stuff. So that'll be perfect. If the GM has to make up a lot of stuff, there are much simpler game systems for that. Savage Worlds and Fate are two I know of off the top of my head and have played, but there are others. Yeah, I prefer to homebrew. I homebrew a lot of stuff. I think part of why 5e took off is also D&D Beyond. I disagree, Powder. I think it had started to take off before D&D Beyond was a thing. Because I remember getting into it right before that, and it was getting pretty big. 5e combat after level 10 is just exhausting. I agree with you. Fallen Knight, how are you? Welcome into the channel. How's it going? Fallen Knight, by the way, another one who might be joining us on our whatever tabletop RPG we do campaign. You can even legally get HTML linked copies of the book, so no Patreon. Oh, ooh, I like that. I also have no horse in the 5e race. I've never played it. Oh, I get that, Tier. I mean, I know, speaking from experience, I know you have friends. But I never had I never had friends that played D&D up until like 5 years ago, so. I can send you the link of the official website if you're cool. Yeah, if you could DM that to me on Twitch, I'll check it out after the stream. It was a large mix, but Beyond helped a ton. I mean, I'm not going to say D&D Beyond didn't help, but I don't think it was like the biggest factor. I'm down a good Warhammer TTRPG. Yeah, I like that one. No friends who play D&D. Yes. The whole OGL issue has put such a bad taste in my mouth despite playing for over 10 years. Yeah, exactly, Fallen Knight. I went on a rant about that at the beginning of the stream too. That's why. So you've come in at the end of the OGL rant and kind of the beginning of like, all right, what are we gonna play now? We were friends longer than that. You were just too cool to play with me. Yes. Okay. So when we met, I didn't really like D&D. Or like I wasn't that into playing it. I guess I knew people who kept trying to get me into D&D. I was like, nah, that D&D is nerd shit, okay? I'm playing Warhammer. I'm cool. I'm not here for your nerd stuff. All right? And this was at like the Magic card store that Powder and I met at. So like I wasn't into Magic. That's nerd shit. I wasn't into D&D. Also nerd shit. I was into Warhammer. That's what the cool kids did because it was models. And cool kids like models. All the cool kids play with models. D&D is the devil's game. I have to try Oh, Cal, I got your message. Thank you. Fallen Knight, so Pathfinder's kind of been like the front runner of what we've been kind of considering. But also, everyone in chat has been offering some other really good options too. Played with little men and went pew pew. Exactly. That's what cool kids do. I liked Pathfinder 1E, but never tried. I've heard that Pathfinder 2nd edition is very well received. Anyone have any varied opinions on that? That was my understanding of it. It's like people really seem to like it. And they also have a VTT, or like they have a D&D Beyond like website, which I've heard from, but I haven't actually checked. Second edition is like Pathfinder trying not to be D&D. What's their website? Pathfinder 2E. Is this it? I'm gonna wait. Oh, it must be paizo.com. That makes sense. I feel nervous just clicking random links on stream. Like, what am I gonna open? But no character maker yet in the Pathfinder site. That's fine. That's not a big deal. You will not like Pathfinder 2E if you do not like math. I don't like math. I'm not that opposed to math. I need to stop hitting my volume button. All right, so far, what randomly clicking links is not? Okay, so Ash, the point though, like I don't mind just clicking random links because, you know, I work in IT. I know that these sites don't have viruses on them. That's a joke. But the point I'm trying to make is, you know, you never know. Like, it's one thing if you click on a questionable site and it comes up on something that is in fact questionable and you're not streaming. But if you are streaming and it comes up with something questionable, then you get banned. It's a pretty cool book series. What's cool is books written in a way where you could go into each story completely fresh, or you could carry on your stats and equipment over from previous installments. I love that. So it's kind of like Mass Effect. I mean, I'm not in the character creation aspect. What's the worst that could happen? I'm more thinking there is a nude woman that pops up. So that's what I'm thinking, Ash. Like, if I clicked on something and that happened, then I would get banned on Twitch. That's the worst that could happen. And my wife might give me a dirty look. So Pathfinder Nexus, that's what we were talking about. Explore early access, phase 2 game compendium. That's cool. Now, anyone, so like Tirth, you've played Pathfinder 2E, right? It does have a character maker. Okay. So is Pathfinder 2E like D&D 3.5? I really liked D&D 3.5 actually. The only reason I didn't try that after 5th edition was because of the math. Sort of. Okay. What was I going to say? Pathfinder 1E was 3.5. Okay. I'm going to have to read this. I know, and just to make a point here, Pathfinder also has a sale going on right now, which is not in any way trying to profit off of, you know, Wizards' bad situation. Not at all. Starfinder had some issues. Okay. So I mean, I really like fantasy tabletop RPGs. I don't know if I would really want to do a sci-fi one. I would try it probably. Tabletop should be encouraged to play. Too many parents let video games babysit their kids. D&D yeah, I agree with you, Spidey. I actually, I don't have it with me here. Before my daughter was born, I actually bought her my first DM's handbook, which is like a DM handbook for kids to like teach them how to run campaigns. Did I buy that because I wanted her to be creative or because I was sick of DMing? That's up to you to choose. Anyway, Ash, have a great night. Thank you so much for hanging out. It's good to see you again. Leading to bad humor. Oh, well, I hope you have a good night and get some good sleep, Ash. I would really like to see a Starfinder 2E. I love the theme of it. I'll look it up someday. All right. So what were we talking about? We were talking about a few different game systems before, right? We were talking about the Lone Wolf was one we were talking about. But what were the other ones? Oh, okay. I'm looking back up to find all the other tabletop RPGs we were talking about, and I can't find them all. So remind me if you mentioned one that is a good one. So Pathfinder was one that we were talking about. Also, we had Call of Cthulhu by Calcium. Call of Cthulhu is also really cool because I got to meet the guys that made it, which was pretty cool. I have all of these, actually. I have these. And who doesn't want to check out the Cock Wiki? Am I right? All right, so thank you, Ken. Ken should wait. Is it Ken Shidark? Is that how you say that? I'm always bad with names. I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna go with Ken if that's okay with you. Ken, welcome into the channel though. Nice to see you. How are you doing? I'm glad we made that joke at the exact same time. God, Man of Friends tried to do that one, but never got past character creation phase. So what Call of Cthulhu blew my mind with character creation. I was like, coming from D&D 5th edition, going to Call of Cthulhu, I was like, what the fuck is this? It was so confusing. But after a little while of trying to get it to work, I finally, like, something clicked. I got it. Seth Skorkowski, yes, has a YouTube channel where he does a lot of Call of Cthulhu stuff. And he has a great video that explains how to do Call of Cthulhu. There you go. Oh my God, Ken, are we twins? We twinning? Oh my God. Thank you. So yeah, Seth Skorkowski has a great YouTube channel where he talks about Call of Cthulhu and really makes the character creation actually make a lot of sense. Read up on the Rift, travel fast, then light. They rip their own universe apart little by little. Character creation to make a character die. Yes, exactly. If you're into Lord of the Rings, I'm going to recommend the one RPG by Free League Publishing. Ooh, I'm gonna look at that. I love Lord of the Rings. In fact, I'm drinking out of Lord of the Rings cup right now. You can't see it. This is I think more so. See, this is why I love tabletop RPGs, because if I'm playing games on Twitch, I am like the oldest person in the category. But with tabletop RPGs, it's a more mature category, and I'm not talking to 14-year-olds all the time. So you'll get the fact that, you know, I could have a mug from 2001. So there you go. The One Ring RPG, not the One RPG. Did I say the One RPG or the One Ring RPG? I meant I read it as the One Ring RPG. That may not be what I said. I do that a lot. The One Ring RPG. Let's look it up. So this is literally Lord of the Rings, which, okay, I like that. Oh, this is a Kickstarter. Ooh, funded in 4 minutes. Well, what took him so long, right? It seems to be very well reviewed too. All right, we're gonna leave that open as an option. Oh, I got the DMs, guys, by the way. Thank you. I will check those out after the stream. There's also the old school Lord of the Rings MERP. What is MERP? Paranoia is also great, but super dumb. Immediate contradiction. There's a crowdfunded Stargate. I've never seen Stargate, and I get yelled at all the time by my friends for that. Okay, so we've got some options. Dread, a horror TTRPG that uses no dice. Ooh, I'm gonna look that up, but I will never. So Fallen Knight, I missed your message about Dread. Sorry. Not TRRPG. TTRPG. Unfortunately, I only play RPGs online. I never play them in person. So, well, no, that's not true. That's not true. I play them in person rarely, but I probably would not get to try this one unless Powder here wants to do it. I love Paranoia is great, but also super dumb. Did I miss? Oh God. Did I miss a Silicon Valley reference somewhere? Beautiful. Blades in the Dark. That's designed after heists. Interesting. Tabletop fantasy role-playing game by John Harper, set in the fictional city of Doskval, inspired by Victorian London and Gothic. Ooh! Oh, I like that. Okay. BRB, I have to get the wife. Tell Mrs. Lammy we said hi, Tirth, please. You pretty much use Jenga to do actions. I have heard of this then. Shakes fist, dang, coof. Coof? You know me, I'm always down. Yeah, I know. If you're into Call of Cthulhu, may I suggest Trail of Cthulhu? What is that, Cal? I'm intrigued. I am a huge fan of the works of Lovecraft, even though he's kind of a dick. But anything like that's even how I got into Call of Cthulhu, because I just love the setting. And this one might be one that we even try. My issue running Call of Cthulhu is D&D. So D&D always has like a fallback of combat. So if you're like, man, I don't know what to do with this story, roll initiative. They're just gonna fight you. You know, in Call of Cthulhu, you can't really do that because they're just gonna die. Then you're a bad DM. Achtung Cthulhu also pretty good. Did I say that right? I get yelled at for my pronunciation of non-English words a lot. Trail of Cthulhu is a tabletop RPG that's built on the Gumshoe gameplay system, a rule set designed to simulate the perfect mystery for players to investigate. One of the most appealing things about a lot of games is that tackle the Cthulhu mythos is that they often don't focus on narratives involving combat. You heard me. It's like you heard me. You saw into the future, Cal, and you pulled my problem and you just gave me a solution. After all, there's not much you can do against a godlike being such as Cthulhu and friends once they're at Earth's door. That's totally true. Maybe missiles? Nukes? I don't know. Are old gods affected by nukes? Although not sure which system to recommend for it. Have you already gone over the PF1 APs that are Lovecraft focused? No. So Ken, I don't have much experience in tabletop RPGs outside of D&D 5th edition. So if you have any suggestions, I probably haven't heard of it. I've heard of Pathfinder, I've heard of Starfinder, Call of Cthulhu, obviously, because I own most of them. I have some other random ones. Like I have there's a Firefly RPG that I have just because I love Firefly. Never played it. I own one for The Witcher because I thought it would give me some cool inspiration for monsters for D&D specifically, but I never actually got around to trying to copy them over, so I don't know why I even have that. But other than that, I just have a lot of dice. So, are you planning on using Character Builder online? I don't know. I don't need to. So this is for on-stream online campaigns. So my personal group, I don't know what we're going to do. We might just still continue on playing D&D 5th edition. For this stream, we might continue playing D&D 5th edition. I don't know. Just looking at options. Ideally, something in fantasy would be good. It doesn't have to be. Actually, probably has to be because I have plans for the campaign I'll get into in a few minutes. We should probably get into that. Probably 15 minutes because I got to end at 11. The RPG is fantastic at helping GMs to build up grand reveals and larger plots, starting players out with a fairly small mystery before expanding on the story's scope as they progress, whilst knowledge is most certain. I assume there's more to that, Cal, so I'll read the rest of that in a minute. I own all of the Hero Lab content for Pathfinder, has fantastic Foundry integration. That is a big thing for me, Ken. Thank you. I use Foundry. So I think Pathfinder is kind of the front runner at the moment. The new PF2 Foundry game packs for campaigns are also insanely good. Nice. Well, Knowledge is most certainly power in Trial of Cthulhu, with each clue moving players closer to answering the mystery. It's also incredibly dangerous, with the threat of knowing too much hanging over the party's head at all times. I don't see an issue with using what you already own for 5e from Wizards. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I don't even mind buying more books, like physical books, Patter. The issue, or even on D&D Beyond, I guess, because I can share. No, I can't if I don't have a subscription. My main issue is buying a subscription to D&D Beyond. And I already have most of the books on D&D Beyond. I can use those. So the real issue is with players. And if I don't want to use D&D Beyond. So like if players want to join, we can figure that out. We just shouldn't pay for a subscription to D&D Beyond. The main thing here, and I think a lot of you, or all of you even, will agree, you don't want to sub to D&D Beyond. That's like their biggest, supposedly, is their biggest marker for like how well it's doing. And if they see everyone canceling, supposedly, they will know that it's not doing well. That's a fair judgment there, Ken, right now. If you're coming from 5e, I say Pathfinder 2 is pretty great. Everyone keeps saying Mathfinder, but I gotta say it's not that dissimilar for Pathfinder 2. And there are some super fun spells, and the feats aren't busted. I'm gonna take a look at it, especially because it's on sale right now too. Powder Hair, I resubbed to D&D Beyond like days before the whole thing broke with D&D. However, I requested that they refund my subscription. I basically sent them an email. I said, I subscribed before I realized how much you guys suck, so please refund my subscription, and cancel it immediately. Roll20 or Foundry VTT are the best for TTRPGs, but Foundry VTT requires you to connect via IP or a server. Yeah, Fallen Knight, I know. We've had some issues with that. I love Foundry. I've been using Foundry for a while. I mean, I was saying too, I haven't played D&D in a couple years because I quit playing D&D right before my daughter was born. And I haven't really done it a lot since then. So I'm really anxious to get back into it. But Foundry was what I used for a few months before we stopped. And I really, really love Foundry. Foundry is big for me. I hate Roll20. If I have to use Roll20, I will not play it. I hate it. Anyway. As the many titles inspired by the Cthulhu mythos, Trail of Cthulhu includes sanity elements. However, thanks to its nature as a detective RPG, player characters will have to be prepared to deal with the consequences of fucking around and finding out more than they're likely to survive. Okay. I can read. I own all of the 5e collectors art alts and all of the Dark Sun 2e, Spelljammer 2e, starting on the Planescape 2e content. Just pull the shit you like and port it to Pathfinder or Savage World, and are also super easy system to jump into. Also, they have Pathfinder APs that have been ported to... Okay, Savage World. That was the other one we were looking at. Thank you. Savage World. And did I put... I did not. Trail of... That's what I typed. Oh, I typed tail. Let's play Tale of Cthulhu. They have doors and windows now. Wait, what? Oh, yeah. Yeah, no. That's kind of... Oh, wait. They have... Oh, Roll20 has doors and windows now. I don't like Roll20 because they had a huge issue with... There was a couple of creators that I really liked, and they had a huge issue with Roll20, and that's what kind of like set me off on Roll20. And I think there's just a lot of better things. Roll20 is very easy to use, so it has that advantage. Tirith, welcome back. Hello, Mrs. Lammy. Assuming she's there. I'm jealous, Ken. I don't have a lot of physical books because D&D Beyond came out right around when I started playing. So I bought the physical ones, and then I just as they kept releasing books, I bought them all in D&D Beyond, which sucks. It's stupid because now I'm like, oh great, if I'm not going to use it, I don't have access to the books. I mean, I will have them because I have even if I don't pay for it, I still have the books on there. I will say I defend a lot, but I very strongly dislike Roll20. Oh, so you also dislike Roll20? Okay. All right. So there we go. Everybody hates Roll20. Get out of here, Roll20. Yeah, a lot of my friends use Roll20. Tailspire. Okay. Oh, it's a video game. Tailspire is a beautiful way to pen and paper RPG. Play pen and paper RPGs online, bring your stories to life, embark upon campaigns together with friends, regardless of where you are in the world. Wow, 9 out of 10 on Steam. Huh. What? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's crazy. So it's like a VTT, but it's also a 3D world. That's insane. I really like this. So I was actually going to show you something kind of like that. I think we're going to save it for the next stream. Tailspire is dope. It was a Kickstarter. Got it. I think I remember seeing that on Kickstarter. The guy keeps doing more and more updates. Totally worth it. Super cheap. Nice. I will get that then, probably. How much is it? $24.99. Yeah, that seems worth it. On the fly editing. Nice. I did not realize how many of you are into tabletop RPGs. An import of Hero Forge mod. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I see Potter got that one too. I love how everyone just has the same thoughts at the same time. Miss Lammy, hello. How are you? Hope your work was good today. Import of Hero Forge models is huge. Powder Hero and I love Hero Forge. I don't buy them on there because I've never played in person. I don't buy them usually, but I do go on there and just kind of build out a character. So I have a visual for it. I like having that visual. And then if I do get an opportunity to play, I'll build my character on there. I'll send it to the DM and be like, this is my character. So they know what it looks like at least. Retail hell accomplished. Nice. Congratulations, Miss Lammy. Okay. So I guess for me, Pathfinder is kind of a front runner. I don't know. I want to try more of these. So maybe we'll do more with them. Literally all of these sound great. Savage Worlds is a role-playing game written by Shane Lacey Hensley and published by Pinnacle Entertainment Group. Game emphasizes speed of play and reduced preparation over realism or detail. Game received the 2003 Origin Gamers Choice Award for Best Role-Playing Game. Oh, that's pretty cool. Well, I don't know if that's necessarily what we were going for, but... Oh, interesting. So you can use Pathfinder in Savage Worlds. Oh, I gotta look more into that. Pathfinder 2 is cool, but if you wanted to try Pathfinder 1, I recommend trying some of the one-shots. We Be Goblins is my favorite. Can you port the Pathfinder 1 stuff to Pathfinder 2? Does it... So for anyone who's played Pathfinder 1 or 2, how would you rate its ability to easily homebrew stuff for Pathfinder as compared to D&D 5th edition? If you want a relatively rules-right TTRPG, Skate Wizards. It's like a steezy role-playing game about radical and arcane shredding of the gnar, a mix of skateboarding culture and fantasy. I'm gonna look that up it probably wouldn't really fit with what I want to do, but it is cool. So maybe in the future I'll find something I can do with that. So actually, this is a good point. Yes, not super easy, but not the worst. Okay, so that's not bad. So here's my thing. I enjoy Pathfinder 2 a lot more than 5e, but I like Pathfinder 1 the most. Better world building. The guys care about the campaigns, and they're typically interesting. I don't run pre-built campaigns, Ken. The reason being that I have a very hard... This is kind of on me. I have a very hard time retaining information that I read, which is why I haven't really read the 5th edition rulebooks. And I just, like, I DM and I kind of make up a lot of it on the fly, and I like doing it that way, which is why I like 5th edition a lot. I don't rules lawyer at all, obviously. So, and in fact, a lot of the times it's me being like, hey, what does your ability do? Because I have no idea. Oh, okay. But anyway, so the reason I like 5e is because it's very easy for me to homebrew my campaigns. I have a very easy time like coming up with ideas for campaigns and sessions and monsters and, you know, different like combat scenarios and things like that. But I have a hard time if you give me a campaign book. I can try to read it. I will retain none of it. And the campaign will come out like garbage because I don't know what it's supposed to do. Savage Worlds stuff for Pathfinder are specifically new ports, and there are only 2 campaigns carried over now: Rise of the Rune Lords and Curse of the Crimson Throne. B series for Pathfinder are very comprehensive. Nice. Okay, so that's good. But that's kind of like my main thing. It was what I was saying there is like why I'm asking how easy it is to homebrew, because if I run a campaign, it's going to be completely homebrewed. It'll be a world that I have built. It will not be like, I don't run D&D 90% of the time. I don't run D&D in a D&D setting. I make up the world. The world is my creation that I have built on like World Anvil. So anyway, Archives of Nethys is best Pathfinder resource. What is oh, you can build your own world pretty easy. Okay, so that's cool. Okay, that's kind of my main thing. You don't even really need to buy any books. All content can be found in there. Archives of Nethys. Cool. I'm gonna keep that on here then. And apparently I've been there. Maybe that was one of the places that we went to on here. All right. So that being said, I'm gonna look into these, and we'll probably talk about more of that next stream. So just a little, we're kind of getting towards the end of the stream. So there's a few more things I want to talk about. So I'm going to speed it on a little bit. What I want to do next stream is start kind of working on a campaign. So my goal with our Sunday streams is tabletop RPG content. I want to do a campaign. I want to invite you guys into the campaign. And what we're going to do is, if you have never heard of it, I think it's Black March's campaign setting, which I've heard about initially from Matt Koval, and we were talking about him before. And I really liked the concept of it, and I think it would work great for a on-stream D&D campaign. So people can pop in, pop out, and basically we're going to have a town that is like the center area, and people will get missions from there. You can go out, and we can have like on-stream one-shots or 1 to 2 shots, I guess. It could be 2 streams, I don't know. And we'll invite people in to join for those. It'll be like a little mini thing. It'll be 1 or 2 sessions, and then the mission will be over. And that will be that. You'll keep your character between missions, but they will be like self-contained missions. So then the next time, so like say Powder Hero and Tirith and Alpha Wit decided to come in for a game, you could do the 1-shot and then go back, and your character would stay where it is. And then if you wanted to join in for another one, then you already have a character. We'll just give you a different mission. I don't know why I'm wearing my glasses. I don't even wear glasses. They're just kind of getting in my way at this point. But yeah, a hub world D&D. Exactly. So like, you know, you get your mission from like a mission center, it will make more sense when we start laying it out. But I think it'll work pretty well. It lends itself well to one shots, or like I said, 1 to 2 shots, and also lots and lots of players. Blades in the Dark is quite like this. Okay, I have that on here. That was one of the ones I was going to look at, and I also really like the setting. Victorian London and Gothic fiction is big for me. Like I was saying, I kind of grew up on Diablo, so I'm really into that aesthetic. So I'm excited to read more about Blades in the Dark. Anyway, so that's the plan anyway for the campaign and for the stuff that we're going to build. Next week, we're going to start going over basically how I'm going to set it up. So I've got resources that I use to build maps and things like that. We'll go over basically just hanging out, building that kind of stuff. You'll notice, I think there should be different stuff in the channel point redeems where you can redeem stuff like create a location, an NPC, a food or a drink. So we're going to build the world together on stream. We're going to build the town together. I will work on the one-shots, building the maps and all that stuff, putting everything together on stream. And then, we'll have the one-shot. Monster of the Week is more horror-centric, but I'm sure you could homebrew it to basic fantasy. Yeah, it's not a Monster of the Week thing, Cal. It's more like a mission of the week, I guess. Like, go help the farmer with... Okay, monster, but you know what I mean. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a horror thing. It could just be like I literally can't think of a non-horror example, but it doesn't have to be, is my point. It doesn't have to be horror. Kill the rats. There you go. Except they're giant rats and they're undead. Oh, Monster of the Week RPG. Oh, okay. I haven't heard of that. I'm gonna look that up. I'll put that on my list. Monster of the Week RPG by Evil Hat Productions. I haven't heard of Evil Hat Productions before. They have to make something else. Anyway, or maybe I have heard of them. Down with the Skaven. There we go. A Warhammer reference. Yeah, we're gonna play some. We're just gonna play some Vermintide. Speaking of which, Dark Tide just came out. Very, very good game. If you haven't played it, I love it. We've been playing a lot of that, or at least I have. Anyway, okay. You can try the Warhammer RPGs then. Yes, I do know of those, Ken. In fact, Powder Hero, one of my mods and IRL friends, we did play a Warhammer campaign a while back, and I like it, but it didn't. I don't know. That one feels. The reason I wouldn't run a Warhammer one is just because that kind of belongs to the Warhammer world. It's a little different than what I'm trying to run. Sound is off. Hopefully it's not that bad. Seems okay on my end. Then again, the network is a little wacky. Okay. Anyway, so that's basically it. Okay, it was just you. So that's basically it. So once we figure out what we're going to use, it honestly is probably going to be D&D 5th edition or Pathfinder, just because I know those are the best and it's easy. Maybe open a Google Docs. People can suggest more systems and you could make it public and ask people for recommendations. You know what, Cal? That's a good idea. So what I think this would be much easier for me, and I apologize if it sounds like some kind of on my own stream self promo, which sounds stupid to say, but this is my Discord. I'm going to set up a tabletop RPG channel in there. And if you guys are interested in joining the Discord, we'll probably just put that discourse in there because it's easier for me to keep track of. If you also like stupid one-shot sessions or small campaigns, straight to VHS is amazing. Rules are free. Ooh, I'm gonna check that out. We have a lot of different options to check out. This is a movie. So if we do that, straight to VHS is a tabletop RPG that emulates the most ridiculous and awesome movies of the VHS era. Straight to VHS is a free and open beta. Nice. Link is expired. Oh, sorry. Let me get you a not expired link. Bum. That was supposed to never expire. I don't know how it expired. Okay. Here we go. I'll post that in the chat. Nope. Just kidding. I didn't copy it. So that's the Discord link. And I'll fix that after the stream too. Thank you for pointing that out, Cal. All right. So I think that's about all I wanted to cover. I think we're going to end the stream there for today. Because it's been an amazing stream and we got a lot done. We vented about the D&D stuff. We looked at a lot of RPGs. Probably some point tomorrow I will set up a channel in that Discord. So if you guys are interested in joining and want to have some input on that, also feel free if you join the Discord and you're on Discord or on here, DM me anywhere and let me know if you want to be part of the campaign. I'm more than happy to have anyone join because, you know, obviously we need people to play in it. So if you want to join in, consider it an open invite to anyone that is interested. Like I said, Pathfinder is probably a front runner for me just because I, for the moment, want to find something that is an easy jump from D&D 5th edition. And then we'll probably check out some other ones. Do I want to be part of the campaign? Do I really need? No, you don't need to answer that. You already did. I'm talking about anyone who hasn't talked to me about it yet. And on that note, yeah, so like I said, I think Pathfinder is the logical choice to start, just because I feel like that's the easiest jump. Also, I tried to go into Jesse D Tabletop on YouTube. It says channel doesn't exist. It probably, oh, it's there's no I. That's why. It's just JESSE. There's nothing on it yet either, Cal. I'm like some of this stream will be uploaded there, if not all of it. And that will be, I preemptively set that up. This is actually our inaugural tabletop Sunday stream. So Cal, I really appreciate you being here. Same with Ken. And Mad Merc of the North too. And everyone else who is here. It's nice to see a lot of familiar faces, a lot of new faces. Ken, you are pretty great. Yes, of course. I mean, you literally did say the exact same thing I was going to say twice immediately after you joined in the stream. Like, it's hard to beat that. All right. I'm going to go take a look at some of this stuff. I'm going to go get some sleep. Thank you all for being here. It was a great return stream. I really appreciate this, guys. For those of you who are new, we did just come back from like a month and a half off. So a lot of fun. Yeah, Tara, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Mrs. Lammy, I'm glad you're home from work. I know you didn't get to see much to stream. But like I said, anyone who wants to play, DM me. We'll be back again next Sunday going over how to build fantasy towns. I have kind of a method that I use for putting like sort of realistic fantasy towns together. So I'm going to kind of shake off the rust with that. And it'll be really fun, I think. So hopefully we'll see you then. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great night. We'll see you soon. Bye.